my business partner. That
Hello, Andre.
Hi there.
How are we doing?
okay.
Okay, Julia.
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry
Good,
about
good.
confusion about the scheduling.
No, don't worry.
Okay. All right. How is the business coming along today? Anything new since the last call?
No, it's very quiet, yeah.
Okay. I actually just tagged you on one of the posts that I posted on Facebook.
Yes.
It's about creating the need.
Yes.
Right? Your services, I remember you using services like yours. And we had a full finish franchise, what, 30 or 35 years ago. So
Yes.
it's not something that people think about when they want to spruce up their house, right? So you have to create the need.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, this is it here. One of our clients does basements.
Yes.
Another client does basement walkouts. Okay. Before, a lot of the houses that we work on, here's the grass level, right? The grass level is in this area here.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you would walk out and you would sit here on the grass. But that makes a pretty dark, dingy basement. So what we do is we excavate all this here to create this retaining wall, create this staircase. Here's a handrail, okay, and create outdoor space to have, a bright, airy basement. Okay. So most people don't know this is possible, and this is why we have to show it to them. The same thing about your services. Nobody knows that your services are available until you create the need. Okay. So we're reaching out to first-time home buyers. It says, first-time home buyers, can you use the income from a basement of a house you don't own yet to qualify for a house that you don't qualify for? Okay. So we're going after a market that doesn't even know this is possible. So we're creating the education process to make it possible for them. Okay.
Okay.
Because they can earn between $5,000 a month and $7,000 a month on Airbnb by doing this program. And there are government programs available to help them do this, especially with first-time home buyers. Okay. We need to create a similar strategy for your business to have your business grow to 1 million, 2 million, or 3 million, whatever that is. And obviously you have to hire people to fulfill this product. Okay. But the first question we have to ask is, do people want this product? Right? How do we know that people want your product?
They have to see it. It's easy to convince them once I'm on site with them, or if they see it in reality. But
okay. All right.
I
So
don't
we need to do a test.
think...
Let's say we show your finishes to 1,000 people who potentially want to paint their house. Out of 1,000 people or 100 people, how many people are going to say, yeah, I want that, and that's reasonable and that's affordable for me and I can pay you for that? How many people are going to give you a deposit out of 100 people?
Who knows?
Well, you should know. No, you should know.
The thing is, the economy here is quite bad, hey?
Terrible, yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, half of our population is unemployed. You asked the other day what the population is of where I live. And there's not even 1 million people in our hometown.
Okay.
And there are quite a few construction companies out there, right? And I mean, Andre's been in it for over 22 years, so there's nothing really new to him in terms of what he's got to do and all the things, you know, how to do it. But we think that the economy is bad. I mean, nearly 50% of our population is unemployed. So, I mean, for example, I ran an ad for the whole of May. In fact, before May, for kitchens, right? To renovate them, to repaint them for the clients, because it's far cheaper to paint them and renovate than to gut it and to put a new kitchen in.
Right.
So I ran this ad and I had 3 people that I quoted for, and they all want it done, but not now. Although I stipulated the fact that it was only running for the period of May. So there is interest, but nobody actually took the bait.
Okay. So the question is, was it the right bait? And was the bait big enough and appetizing enough? That's a horrible analogy, I know. But it has to be appetizing, right? It has to make sense. It has to help them. Because when you have 50% unemployment rate, can we agree people are scared?
Very.
Right? People are
They hang on
scared.
to their money for their
Right.
for their necessities. Yes.
Right. So do they see painting their kitchen as a necessity?
Well, I think
when they could potentially lose their job and they see all their friends, not all their friends, 50% of their friends losing their jobs, they're thinking, okay, am I next? And should I be spending money
exactly.
right now
Yes.
on painting my kitchen when I should worry about paying my mortgage?
Yes, no, I totally agree with you there.
Okay. So I think I'm not saying that I have answers. I don't have answers. Okay.
No, but that is a fact. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have to, just because we don't have answers today does not mean we cannot design answers for tomorrow. Okay. This strategy we just came up with a couple of days ago for the basement company, and it's starting to work. It's probably going to take 6 months or a year before we get any real traction behind it, because people have to see the concept. They have to think about the concept. They have to get educated about the concept. They have to see my people posting that 10 or 15 times before he even registers. Maybe I should do this, right? Meanwhile, a year, 2 years, or 3 years go by, then they think about it. Right? So none of this stuff really works that quickly. It's not designed to work that quickly. Yes, some people, 2%, 3% will say, yeah, I want this done. So if only 1% are of the people are going to say, yes, I want this done today, you've got to reach 1 million people, or at least 100,000 people. So 1% says, I want it done today. When you're only reaching 100 or 200 people, there's not enough of the people who are going to say, yes, I want it done today. They may say, yeah, that's a great idea when the economy turns around, or when I get a raise, or when this happens or this happens, right? So you got to reach huge numbers in order for it to make sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. So as you know, I told you that I started a construction business when I was 17 and developed it to 22 different franchises. One of the franchises was faux finishes and another painting. And what we did is we know that there's always barriers between the people offering a service and the people wanting to buy the service. There's always a Grand Canyon or a China wall in between. Right? So you have to eliminate those barriers. One of the barriers for our kitchen franchise, as an example, We wouldn't say, you know, Mrs. Jones, can you afford your dream kitchen at $80,000 or $150,000, right? Most people would say, no, I can't. That's ridiculous, right? But the same kitchen rephrased, and you say, Mrs. Jones, can you afford your dream kitchen at $250 a month, right? Now there's a very good chance, there's a 70% chance you're going to say, yeah, I can afford $250 a month, right? So you figure out what the problems are going to be, and you eliminate the problems before they become problems. Okay. So we need to figure out what the problems are with your clients, and we need to solve those problems so they can say, yeah, I want to do this.
But how do we get the money? Because I mean, there is a risk of people not paying you. And I mean, if it's monthly,
you get paid
then...
before you finish the project. You're using a finance company.
Oh, I see. So they pay monthly until the final amount is reached, and then we go ahead with the project. So there's no risk.
No.
Not.
Let's say a kitchen, because you know, a
Yes.
full finish is a small project. Let's say an $80,000 kitchen. We would go in, measure, design the kitchen, and so on. Okay. We would never tell them it's $80,000. We would tell them it's $249 a month. Right? They say, yeah, I can do that. We would have them sign the financing papers, right?
Oh, I see. So you do it in terms of a loan almost.
It's a loan.
It's a loan. Okay.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a
that
loan.
makes sense.
They qualify for the loan within 30 minutes.
Okay.
Because they fit parameters. They qualify for the loan. We send the loan application. It gets finalized. We ask the loan company to give us a 40% deposit. Okay. The deposit comes from the loan company, not from the client. The client sometimes doesn't pay for 6 months or 12 months. That's part of the incentive for signing up for a loan. We get a deposit from the loan company. We order the material. We finish the kitchen. The client signs off, yes, the kitchen is finished. We send that agreement back to the loan company. We get the balance of the money 2 or 3 days after finishing the kitchen. Okay. Meanwhile, the client now has a loan that's open, and she's paying off her kitchen for 5 or 10 years.
And then there's no risk to us, because
the risk is between the loan company and the homeowner. You are out of the picture.
Okay.
The same thing can be done for painting or whatever type of work that you're doing. I'm sure there are home improvement type loan companies out there that do this. And the interest rates are a little bit higher than normal, but still fairly reasonable.
To be honest with you, I've never thought of it that way. Have you?
Yeah, well, a lot of people take what's out on their bond.
Yes.
Excess bond.
Yes, but I didn't think of it in terms of renovating your kitchen, because most people are happy to pay 30 or 40,000 rand. It's not a problem, but I've never thought of it that maybe convince them, well, okay, after I've sent them the quote, get involved with the financial institution and say to them, what will this cost a month over 5 years, 2 years, whatever, and then propose that to the client. I've really not ever thought of it.
Yeah, by doing that, your sales should increase by 70%. Because when I was running the construction business, 70% of our deals were financed. I didn't even give the client, the cash price unless they asked for it.
Okay.
But it was always, $50 a month, $80 a month, $250 a month. I never quoted any other prices, because a big price like that scares people, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Right.
So then would or Andre, whatever we're doing for the client, would we first make contact with the financial institution?
Yeah, you have to have an agreement with a financial institution, knowing what the parameters are, what
Yes.
types of jobs are going to go after, right?
Yes.
And you need to know, if they have this income, if their credit score is this, they automatically qualify. If they're not
Yes.
behind on their mortgage payments, they automatically qualify. So when you
Correct.
know when they automatically qualify, you say, yes, you qualify. We just need, obviously the written signature from the company, but you qualify, right? Then you go ahead and do your estimates and do what you need to do. And generally you can do this online while you're still with a client, and you get instant approval within 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. But a lot of the work is done before you see any clients. Okay. But the other thing we should talk about, I mean, we've been helping companies now for 40 years. We started by, designing franchises and creating systems to make these people successful. And these people knew nothing about the construction industry. So our system had to teach them everything they need to know. One of the first things that we talk about when we're designing and building a business is about, branding, differentiation, trust foundation, right? Those are all things that build barriers or China walls between you and your clients, right? If you're not doing any of that, if you're not using brand, what's your company name, by the way?
It's Providence Interiors and Projects.
Okay. How many reviews do you have?
I think 3 so far, and they're all 5-star.
Yeah. You should have 300 or 500.
I agree with you.
Right.
Because I've been going for 12 years.
Yeah. I mean, reviews are actually easier to get than especially with a visual product like yours, right? Reviews are easy to get. Have you ever had a client ask you for a discount?
Once or twice they will say to me, it's more than what I expected, can't you do it for X amount? And then like last year I had that problem, but I actually had a kitchen special running. So I said to her, I don't give discounts, but what I can do for you is, because I've got this promo running right now, I can give it to you for that amount. But otherwise I don't. But I have thought of the option of going, we've both thought of it, to say to the client, if you get a written offer, another written offer, and in writing, we will try and match it for you or better it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work or not. You would need to.
I'm not sure that I like that, because you're kind of encouraging them now to go out and get other quotes. And there's a pretty good chance they'll find someone who can do it cheaper. There's always someone who will do it cheaper than you can. Always. That happened 40 years ago. Well, see, they don't know that.
I know.
They're comparing a paper quote with a paper quote. That's not quality. That's just a paper quote.
I know. Right? I know.
So I'm not sure that I would do that. But also, I don't like the terminology, we never give discounts. I don't think that's the right strategy. To me, I
do. Sorry, I do. Maybe like once a year, I will say to them, I've got a promotion running. And that does encourage more people to contact me. Have you ever had that? Not.
Well, we are kind of off topic, but there are strategies to create reviews. And because yours is a very visual product, you should be getting visual video testimonials, not text reviews, right? Text reviews is very hard to read emotion. But when you're finished a job and the client is nearly in tears, because she can't believe what a great job you did, you capture that on video, that will get you 100 jobs. Right? It's very hard to capture emotion on text. And
so you feel So you feel that plus before and after images are imperative. I used to do that, but you know, the thing is, often when I was doing smaller jobs, just some item at home or in the client's house, then I'll paint it there, but the background isn't conducive, or even at the time when it's ready, because they might have to put handles on the cupboard doors or have the floors done. So they, because it's not 100% complete, that's why I haven't done things like that. But I mean, if you feel I could do that, but say this still needs to be done, I don't know if in your opinion that would work, or if it's a good or bad thing.
Okay, I just got a red flag.
Okay.
Let me go back. One of the reasons, and keep in mind, who's going to hire a 17-year-old to renovate their house?
Nobody.
Right. So I knew I was going to have challenges, right? And I looked in the mirror and I said, Leo, you know, how dare you think you're going to steal business from, you know, people who have been doing this for 20 or 30 years, and you're 17 years old with no experience, nothing. You know, how dare you think you're going to accomplish this, right? So you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, what are the issues that people are going to have for not doing business with me? You got to look at things from their perspective, right? And what you just said really scares me, because it tells me that you are a painter and not a business owner who's client-centric. Let me explain that. When we were doing jobs for a client, and I spend a lot of time on Facebook groups, and I'm always flabbergasted by, you know, the business owners on Facebook groups who say, you know, I don't worry about material, you know, the client picks up the paint or the client picks up the material, I only charge them for my labor. Which means, I mean, think about that. If you're going after successful people, whether they're bankers, lawyers, you know, business owners, or whatever it is, these are busy people, correct? If they're successful, they're busy people. How dare you ask them to go out and shop for their own, you know, kitchen knob handles? That is ridiculous. How dare you ask them? No, let me finish. How dare you ask them to go out and buy their own paint or buy their own 2x4s or buy whatever, right?
Yes, yes.
When I operated my business, I would say, Mrs. Jones, you're only going to do two things. I know you're busy. You're a successful business owner. I'm only going to ask you to do two things and two things only. I'm going to ask you to make well-informed decisions, and my interior designers will help you get the tiles, get the paint colors, get the flooring samples, get the drapery samples, get whatever you need. We'll create that package for you, and you will say, I like package number 1, 10% more than I like package number 2. Okay? So you will make informed decisions on a timely basis, because you cannot, you know, hold this up. And the second thing is, you're going to write very big checks to Leo. And there was usually a big laugh after that. Okay. But we meant that. We respected their time, right? If you're doing a kitchen cabinet, you're painting or spraying a kitchen cabinet, you should have 3 or 4 different knobs that you carry in stock that you like, that will fit with that concept, right? Or, you know, they're available at Home Depot or whatever, wherever your supplier is. But you install them. You don't give them a half-assed kitchen that they have to put back together. You do it. It's part of your service. You have to be client-centric.
I am. I don't tell them to do any of that. I say to them, I will bring you all my samples. I bring you all the colors, and I will do everything for you. The reason that there are no handles is because the client wants a specific handle and they have bought it themselves, but they haven't had time to attach it. That was, and then another client wanted to go and look for handles themselves because they're not sure of what they want. Although I can.
Yeah, but hold on. See, who is the expert? Who is the kitchen design expert? Is it your client or is it you? Because if it's your client, then you've got the wrong client. If they believe they have better taste in kitchen designs, they don't respect you as a kitchen designer.
No, it's not that they think I'm better. They know that I know what I'm doing, but some of them specifically want a certain handle or to choose between one or two, but they want to go and look at them themselves. And there might be some reason why there is a delay, or they might say the handles are on, but the floor is not right. Then they will say, we'll do that in time when we can afford it. Like I did a kitchen 2 years ago, and they still haven't done their kitchen. So I haven't taken photos because I can't put out a kitchen that's looking absolutely beautiful before and after photo when the floor isn't right. The floor is completely wrong for the kitchen the way it looks now. It's totally wrong. So
okay, we are off topic again, but I really believe that you should find clients, educate the clients to see you as the expert, the top expert in your country for doing this. They would never come to the top architect and say, I don't like the door handle you put on my front door. I'm going to go shopping for a front door handle. I don't see that happening, right? Because if they're paying $80,000 or $100,000 to hire an architect to design them a dream home, they're not going to go to Home Depot and say, I want you to use this front door handle, right? That's going to be part of the design process. I like this over this over this, right? So there's something wrong in the process because people should trust you and say, Helena, you are the expert, you tell me. Right? If you're not getting that, then okay.
Yeah.
Then
yeah. No, as I say, 99% of them do. They just say, you're the expert, you do it.
okay.
But I do get the ones where, like for example, the floor is not right and it's really ugly. It's completely.
Let's not worry about the 1%. Let's focus on the 99%.
Yes.
Okay?
No, I do offer that. I mean, I've got loads of samples I take with first time round. I mean, you asked on Facebook, how do you follow up with clients? And I never answered that. But that would have been my answer to you had I had time that day. My answer is I do have samples. We've got loads of samples that we take with, whether it's paint, whether it's cementitious coatings, whether it's paint effects, whether it's tiles, flooring, vinyl, whatever. I take it all with me. Okay. First time I go and see the client.
Okay. So take me through a typical client. What is the process?
I'll get an SMS or a phone call to say, can you do this? Then I'll say, yes, I can do it. Can you quote me on your kitchen? Yes, I can, but I need to see it in reality because I know for a fact that I will walk around the house and because then I'll say, can you paint the fireplace? Yes, I can. Can you do an effect on the wall? Yes, I can. So I know that by me going on site first time, they've met me, they've got the confidence in me, and they can also know they can leave it up to me so that I can do more things for them. Whether they want beams installed as well, I know I can get a lot out of them by going on site. And the times when I do get kitchens, it's not often because I mean, a kitchen is a big expense. When I do go onto site, then I do get most of them. It's just that, as I say, now the wheels have fallen off here in South Africa since January. So then what I do is once I've made the appointment with them, I take all my samples. They will say to me, I want a white kitchen. And I'll take a look at their floor and their walls. And I'll say to them, what is happening with your walls and your floor? Are you changing? No. Okay, then what we need to do is I will then contrast a nice color for you so that it's not white. It will be subtle and it will bring out your tiles and your walls. So, and then I'll show them options. And in all the time I've been painting, it's been 12 years now, I've only done 2 white kitchens, although everybody loves white, but I've only painted 2 white ones because they feel after I've shown them the the colors and how I can make it work for them without the cost of still changing their flooring, which we know is also expensive. I've saved them a lot of money there too. And even countertops, I can give them cheaper versions than what they actually like, although still high quality. So it's always imperative that I can get to the client. That first meeting is imperative.
Okay. So when someone calls you, is it is the call coming from a referral or is it coming from marketing?
I would say half of both.
Okay.
Because
So
you know, there are lots
50% of new clients are coming from marketing
correct, yes.
in the last 12 months, let's say.
Well, in all the time, because I've just got like a gentleman phoned me now last week, and I said to him, "Where did you find me?" Because that's always my first question. Where did you find me? I want to know what's working. And he said to me, "I just Googled paint effects," and he found me. And
Okay.
he was so happy to have found me. So, but a lot of them are referrals. It
Okay.
will either be from Facebook, to be honest with you.
From Facebook. Okay. Facebook
Most
groups
of
or
them.
your Facebook page?
Sometimes they'll elaborate and say, no, it was on a group, but I've noticed quite a few clients also say to me, you know what, I've been following your page for about a year or so. And when I saw this ad, I decided that's it, I'm not doing it. So they are following my page as well.
Okay. All right. You've mentioned something several times, and let's try and address it. In the construction industry, and by the way, you are in the construction industry, correct?
Andre is, yes.
Well,
So
painting is part of the construction industry as well.
Yes.
I wanted to clarify that. In the construction industry, a company, whether it's a painting company, kitchen company, whatever that company is, that company can be designed to make more profit in a down economy than the same company can make in an up economy.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know how?
You tell
Because
us.
that's what you're facing now, right?
Exactly.
That's what
Exactly
you're
that.
facing. Okay.
Mm.
What you have to understand is if you have competition, and I can't imagine you have a lot of competition doing full finishes, but what generally happens is, just like we talked about clients, you know, when clients see there's 50% unemployment rate, and by the way, we don't have 50% unemployment rate. We have a much lower rate, and we're still seeing the effects of that, right? But understanding that, you know, people become skittish and reduce their spending, and your competitors do the same thing as well. The first thing they do is, oh crap, there's a recession coming. We gotta shrink our marketing. We gotta lay off some people. We gotta not buy the truck we were thinking of buying and stuff like that. So they call that's called turtling, right? When the turtle pulls their head inside the shell, it means we're gonna not do anything until this thing changes, right? Which leaves a huge opportunity for an aggressive company to do marketing and branding and create expand their market share. Okay, if you look back at the Great Recession, right, 95% of the companies turtled, 1 or 2% got rich, because not everyone was unemployed in a Great Recession. I don't know if you know the Great Recession, right? There's always people that, you know, have enough money, they're not concerned, they know this will this will be over at some point, and they say, hey, this is the time for me to get some great deals, right? And people got filthy rich during recessions. So you have to look at this recession or 50% unemployment rate as a great opportunity that will never happen again, and you need to take advantage of it. You have to create great branding, great differentiation, great products. It's an opportunity for you to to really think about what is it that I should be offering and what can I convince a client that they need? Because you need to create the need for whatever your product or services are. Okay. You have to create that need. Okay. And, you know, because of the economy slowing down is the reason we reactivated that picture I just showed you to go after first-time home buyers, right? Because when a recession happens, what happens with prices? Prices come down, right? You know, first-time home buyers, people always have families, right? Families always help their kids, right?
Of course.
So now we're creating a picture where they can save it and sit down with dad and say, hey, you know, prices are lower right now. I know when this, you know, turns around, prices are going to go back up again. These people are saying we should be looking at buying our house now, and they're going to help us by creating a design to give us $5,000 to $7,000 a month to help us finance. I don't think this is going to be available, you know, 6 months or 2 years from today when the prices go back up. Is this something we should be getting together with these people to discuss? You see what I'm talking about? You need to have the same strategy. I'm not saying that I have answers right now. I don't, but I know that 40 years, when we put our heads together, when we put the team together and say, okay, here's the problem, what's the solution? Let's brainstorm, let's find answers, right? And, you know, 95, 97% of the time, it may take a 6 months or 6 years to come up with differentiation, but we always find it.
Okay.
Okay. So there's
You know
got to... Go ahead.
Sorry. You know what I find, Leo, to be honest with you? When I finished these techniques in 2012, when I studied them, I found they were a huge rage because you know about them. But here in South Africa, they're a little bit backwards. They don't know much. They don't know much about faux effects.
Right.
So then what happened was I painted quite a lot of things. But now the cabinet makers that manufacture the cabinetry, they have now just brought out plain melamine colors. Whereas, whereas up until 5 years ago, or so let's say from 5 years to now, what they did was they would bring out melamine sheets that people did their modulars, their kitchens, their bathrooms, whatever with, and they had, let's call it, faux effects on them. So faux effects fell away. But I'm trying to revive them because I see a lot of them in Europe and in America. I see them back again, and I'm trying to create that need again because a lot of the people here are steering away from tiling bathrooms and areas because the cementitious coating is so much nicer. It's clean, it's seamless, it's not a look that you're going to get tired of. Previously, when I was young, we would buy a house and the whole bathroom would have to be retiled because it would have the most horrible orange or green tiles in it. So, you know, things like that. So that's why it should come back again. There's no reason for it not to. Because
well, no, hold on. Nothing should do anything until you make it happen.
But that is what I'm trying to do.
Right. But you got to make it happen. Right. But you got to use, you know, what happens with a hairstyle, with a woman's hairstyle? They see a movie star with this new hairstyle. What happens? All the women copy it. Right. So, so we know that happens. So use that to create the results that you want. Right. And by the way, let's back up a little bit. There was a shoe company. I forget who the shoe company was, and you know, they had their market in North America and they wanted to expand overseas, and you know, they sent salespeople all over the place to open up markets. And I believe one of the salesperson went to Africa and said, oh, you know, and the owner asked for a report, and he goes, oh, forget about Africa. No one wears shoes in Africa, right? The second salesperson went to Africa and says, holy crap, Mr. Owner, nobody wears shoes in Africa. It's a great opportunity. See the difference?
I know.
Your
I know.
perspective, your view on things, if nobody does, full finishes, you can look at that as a waste of time or a
advantage.
great opportunity, right?
Mm.
But in order to create a great opportunity, you better have great branding, differentiation, and influencers that can help you do this, or else you're going to waste 50 years of your life and get nothing done. Okay. So you got to use influencers or use image of someone who has done something, right? So you got to scour the internet for an influencer or a movie star who had just had their house full finished for a wall or something, and use that to say, hey, aren't we trying to copy what people are doing in Hollywood, California, right? Then you're using influencers in your town to do that, to be part of that, then use them to get the rest of the people to follow suit, right? But first you start with Hollywood, because everyone wants to copy Hollywood, right?
I have actually been doing that, because the 5 fix that I do on walls is virtually the same as a cementitious coating at the end of the day. The difference is, my advantage is I can give a client any color they want, whereas the cementitious coatings, they come in restrictive colors. So they can only choose X, Y, Z. I can give them from A to Z, because there are over 4,000 colors to choose from.
Yeah. See, you're still thinking as a painter. You're not thinking as a business owner who wants to change an industry.
I would love to. I would love to.
Then
you know what, Leo, just as an experiment, I uploaded the other day a big structure that Andre did. How long ago? That industrial one with the isolation?
Oh, 7 years ago.
7 years ago, I uploaded that, and I said there, my roofing professional, last week, a new woman that I made contact with on a Facebook group, actually, yeah, in town, she came through to me. She sent me a message and said, what would it cost like this? And she gave me 2 options. And then I spoke to Andre, and he said, no, that one isn't conducive, or it won't service a dressage arena. So she sent me 2 photos, and then we quoted on the second one, but at least she put a face to me and the reliability of the project. So we have quoted, and it's a massive project. So that would be lovely if we did get it.
Okay, so you need to do that on a much bigger scale, right? You're talking about one person. You need to be talking about 100 people who are showing you photos, and 10% of those people will go forward with their projects, right?
Correct.
So you need to go on a much bigger scale. And I think you need to diversify as well, because not everyone is going to want full finishes, right?
No.
Some of the people are going to say, well, my kitchen's too old, it's falling apart, the drawers are falling apart, there's no point in putting money into it, I want a new kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? So can you provide them a new kitchen, since we're talking about kitchens?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got a designer that will do the layout, and then people will obviously make the cabinetry for me, and it's up to the client. Do you want me to paint it, or do you want it spray painted? Because I can do both for you. I give them the option.
But doesn't the kitchen come pre-finished from the factory in most cases?
Some people might just want it more cost effective, if you can call it that. And then I will look for a substrate, maybe superwood or something. And then if it works out cheaper, I can give them 2 quotes. If it works out cheaper for me to paint it for them on the melamine, as opposed to buying ready finished boards, then they will often say to me, no, I want you to paint it, because they know that the completed finish is completely different. I mean, a sprayed kitchen to a hand painted kitchen, it's more it's more shop finished, whereas mine is more hand technique. If people, well, you would know the difference, but to see the difference of a sprayed kitchen, I mean, it's normally high gloss, absolutely smooth, whereas when it's not sprayed, we've got that little bit of a texture, although the quality is still good and the paint I use is good, but there will be a differentiation.
Okay. But what if someone wants an oak or a cherry kitchen, a stained kitchen? You're going after. I still have the impression you're still going after the paint kitchens. I mean, that's a low percentage type business.
It doesn't matter. I will say to them, what surface are you looking for? What are you looking for? Wood? Are you looking for painted, or what would you like? I mean, we can offer them whether it's oak or cottonwood or whatever they want. Then we can.
Okay. Okay. I if I were in your shoes, I mean, when I was running my company, I had 22 different franchises, right?
Yeah.
So I was very diversified. But the problem is that when you become jack of all trades and master of none, you know, people don't see you as the expert on anything. And this is why we had 20 different franchises. The kitchen franchise only did kitchens, nothing else. The bathroom franchise only did bathrooms, nothing else, right? The roofing franchise only did roofing, nothing else. Okay. So they have to see you as the top expert in that field, right? So I'm sure there's got to be other products that you can do or use subcontractors for to make some money.
Yeah, we would do that.
Okay. So there is a concept, I believe I sent you the video, about overqualifying yourself.
Yes.
Right? Because with 3 reviews, you are not overqualified. You know, people can ask, you know, let me see pictures of your previous work. Who have you done work for and stuff like that. If you're getting those types of questions, it means you're not qualified or overqualified. We need to work on your trust foundation. Your trust foundation, when people look at you online and see all the great work you've done and all, you know, 300 or 500 reviews, there's very little questions about, you know, can I speak with 3 of your previous clients? There's very little of that, right? Because you're already beyond. You watch that video where I talk about the surgeon, the brain surgeon doing stitches and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. That's what we need to do for you. If I were in your shoes, I would, you know, design a custom home building company. Then when people ask you to renovate a kitchen, you know, remove the floors, remove the kitchens, put in new kitchen, new floor, new light fixtures and everything else, there's little concern because they see you as a custom home builder. If this person can build custom homes, certainly they can build me a kitchen or a bathroom or whatever it is, right? Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Okay. So I would overqualify myself to make sure that there's no more concerns about whether these people are going to do a great job or not. And, you know, and by overqualifying yourself, now your margins are higher. Okay. And your margins are higher because you are attracting the right people, profitable people. I'm sure there's different income levels within an hour's radius of you. There's the rich part of town and the poor part of town, correct? Right? 90% of your work has to be in the rich part of town.
Yeah, correct.
Are you in the rich part of town 90% of the time?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I've got, my clients are all affluent clients. I mean, ranging from judiciary right down to surgeons, specialists, accountants. The housewives are, how many are housewives? Maybe 10%. The rest are all high-level clients.
Okay.
I mean, this one job that we worked on last year, she would call me and say, I want your opinion, and then I'd go with her to a room or wherever, and she'd say to me, what do you think? Then I'd give her my opinion, and immediately she would make up her mind and say, okay, do it. You know, so, and I mean, she's just around the corner from me, so that was a good client, and she will also carry on. It's just also their business is also affected right now, so they've also put a hold on projects.
Mm-hmm. What kind of business are they in?
They're in importing and exporting.
Okay. I see. Okay. Well, see, we can certainly, we've helped over 1,000 companies like yours get to the $20 million mark. Most of our clients are in North America, as you know. Working in a different country presents a little bit more of a challenge because I don't know your market, right? But you know your market. But whether we are designing a company for Arizona or California or wherever it is, we still have to learn the local market to see what is required there. What are the niches? But if there are no niches, you create the niche, right? So I think you need to do the same thing in your areas, figure out, okay, where can we make the majority of the money? And right now in North America, bathrooms make more profit than kitchens do, which is the opposite of what it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the profit margin in kitchens was outrageous and very little in bathrooms. Now it's the other way around, I guess, because everyone wants to renovate a bathroom that they haven't done for 20 years. Right.
I think it's pretty much the same, yeah, because in the last 2 months we've quoted on about how many? About 10 bathrooms, eh?
What is going for the panel systems?
Yeah.
Panel system as opposed to tile, you mean?
Those are the screens. Instead of sliding doors and opening doors, just walk-in showers.
Okay.
With a cementitious seamless finish on the wall.
Okay.
Or the floor.
All
So
right.
I think we're pretty much in the same category right now because tiles are very outdated. I mean, even my suppliers, when I go to them, I'll just pop in every now and then and they'll say, we've got no wall tiles, because a lot of clients, when they do go for tiles, instead of the cementitious coatings, then what they'll do is they'll go for exactly the same tile on the floor as the wall. So wall tiles per se are actually, the sales have dropped, that they are not going to do them any longer.
Okay. And what are they using instead? Because you're not doing all these jobs, right?
They are going for the cementitious coatings or the floor tile, exactly the same tile on the floor as on the wall.
Okay. And that's what your competition is doing.
Yes.
Okay.
But Leah, the thing is, Andre and I have only been working together for about the last year, right? For about the last year. So it's not like we've been struggling since 2012. I've been on my own right up until when he started working with me. So we're still very new, although we've got all this experience and expertise individually. I won't say the business is struggling in that sense that it's because there's something lacking. It's just because we need exposure, the two of us together, because we can offer so much now compared to previously or just on our own.
Okay. I'm not sure that I understand that. When you're still talking about a product only represents about 10% on the business blueprint. I'm not talking about a product, I'm talking about the business side of the business. Right? So, and that's how you're going to get from 2 million to 20 million, is by focusing on the business side of the business. Of course, you focus on the product and the reviews and so on, but reviews are on the business side of the business, because you got to have a system to get reviews. If you only have 3 reviews, it means you don't have a system to get reviews, right? The client you said that was very happy with you, right? You go, that client should be giving you 2 or 3 reviews, every year from a client from 5 or 10 years ago. That's what a system does, right? So whenever we analyze a company, you're giving me the impression that, Leo, all I need is more clients, right? In 40 years analyzing companies, I've never seen a company that only has one issue. There's always 20 or 30 little issues that add up to a big issue. Okay. So your lack of sales is a symptom. That's not the root cause. We need to find out what the root cause is. Does that make sense?
It does, but I still seem to think it's the economy, because it is bad. It's really bad.
We've had bad economies in the past. We've had good economies in the past. And we will have bad economies in the future, right? A well-designed business uses the economy to do what it needs to do. You use a bad economy to grow sales. Okay. This is the time for you to be grabbing market share with a well-designed company. I'm not sure that I'm seeing a well-designed company yet, or companies. Okay. So
I think we're also in a niche market, because most of the interior decorators, they make their living out of decorating. Although I'm a qualified one, my core business is the painting. So, and then he's also another completely different arena on his own. So I feel like we are in a niche market, but we need to find where we actually fit in, where people are going to just come to us for everything, because we are able to do it, in other words. Because if he can't do it or I can't do it, then we've got subcontractors that can. We definitely do.
right.
Like when people say to me, what do you do? I paint. Yes, I paint. But I can also help you with loads of other things. Like as I said, when I go to a client, then I'll take them all the samples. I will take all that load off them by helping them to choose. And assisting them to get where they want to.
The examples that I'm giving you are not reaching you. They're not sinking in because they're too close to home. Let me give you examples outside of your industry. I'm currently working with a single dad who runs a construction company, and I've seen some of his work. He does some really great work, and some of his ads. We do some great kitchens, we do bathrooms, we do junk removal, we do a couple of other things. Now think about that from the consumer's perspective. Why would I have a guy that does junk removal come in and do my kitchen? Right? If I see that the majority of his time, or even 10% of his time, is doing junk removal, what does that tell me? It tells me that he's not a successful kitchen designer, kitchen builder, because successful kitchen designers, kitchen builders are busy, and they're going to be 3 or 4 months out before you get a chance to build me a kitchen, right? So by telling me and convincing me that he's a junk removal guy, it eliminates me as a client. Okay. How are you doing that in your business? Because you've done it several times in this conversation. And we cannot see our own blind spots, right? When I told the guy this, the same thing I just said about junk removal, I would never hire a junk removal guy to do my kitchen. And he got all defensive. And he said, well, that's not what we do. We only do that part of the time. Then why are you, muddying the waters with your good clients and saying you do junk removal, right? You got to, if you want to do that, you got to have different businesses with different branding and separate altogether.
No, we don't do that. What we do is we will say to them, that is included in the quote, to get it removed for you. Obviously, we don't do it, but I know you're giving it as an example, but we're very clear in what we do as opposed to what we can get done for them using other contractors. Because why, that we wouldn't do something like that.
Right. The impression that I have, and if I was one of the homeowners that you have discussed, I would have the impression that you are a painter. When I should have the impression that you are a top-level interior designer that has subcontractors or has employees that are painters. See the difference? One is, a $5 million business. The other one is an $800,000 business. Your branding is, your nonverbal communication is not helping you in this case. Does that make sense?
It does, but in terms
I think your
of
results, prove my point.
it does. It's just when I studied interior decorating, I must mention this fact, and you would know this as well. There's a big difference between a designer and a decorator.
Okay.
So I'm not, put it that way, qualified or in the same category as a designer, because designers submit plans. I don't do that.
Okay. Then find someone who can submit plans as a subcontractor.
I do have someone, but I can't.
Okay, hold on. See, now you're presenting problems. You're in the destructive mode. You're not in the opportunity mode. And let me explain something. When I was very young, I got married when I was very young. When I would go out and do quotes, a lot of times I would take my wife with me, and she was always, very pretty, well-dressed. And she would have a certain part of the conversation, and I would have a certain different part of the conversation, right? She would talk about, finishes and colors and furniture layout and stuff like that. She would never say she's an interior designer because she wasn't. But people assumed that she was because she would focus on that. And her ideas were pretty brilliant because we would discuss these ideas in the car, going to the client. This is what I want you to talk about. Here are the colors that I want you to show. And here are the carpet samples or flooring samples that, I want you to talk about. Because she talked about it as opposed of me talking about it, they made those assumptions. And each time that I did that, the price or the margins went up by at least 30%. Okay. So I'm not saying that you should be telling people that you are a qualified interior designer. I would allow them to assume whatever they want to assume, and you act as if you are, or get your degree. Okay. But I think we're missing an asset here that you're not using. I think this is part of the horsepower under your hood that you're not using, right? People want to do business with successful people, right?
But that takes me back to the fact that you say that adverts they must not have too much sort of wording in them. But I do say in them,
there should be no wording, almost no wording. A picture speaks 1,000 words, right?
Yes, exactly. Agree with you. But I do need to let them know we do design of new kitchens or areas. So that I do. So, I mean, what do I focus on? I can't focus on just painting because that isn't what we do. We do loads of things. So
Okay.
that's what I'm trying
What
to
do you do that makes you the most money? What's the most profitable product that you offer?
painting. But when we quoted on this job now last week, I mean, obviously that would be what we would like to do, is to quote the affluent people because there's money there.
Okay.
So I need to try and bring them in, you know, the credibility.
How many
because
painters do you have? I'm sorry. This call is taking much longer than I expected. How many painters do you have?
working for me,
Yes.
I don't have any. Not now.
Okay. So
But at times,
think
but
about
at
what I
times,
just said.
yeah.
The nonverbal communication you are creating in your community, right? The garbage removal guy is seen in this community with a trailer removing garbage, right? People notice things. Then they see the advertisement next week that he's doing kitchens. What does that do to his credibility? If he's removing garbage one day, then building kitchens another, and you want to have a kitchen designed and built, what does that do to the credibility?
Bad.
Right. So you cannot be painting, then expect to be an interior designer. You got to pick or choose, right? You got to decide, okay, I'm going to run, a $5 million interior design business. You go out and you do the differentiation, the branding, the marketing, everything you need to do that. You go out and get the contracts. You hire the subcontractors or the people to do the work. You supervise, you manage, but you stay at that level and you make sure that you have enough work and you maintain that credibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get enough work, right? This is why focusing, and a lot of times we design companies where they focus on bathrooms and only bathrooms. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars to be done in bathrooms or painting. I have a client who does $5 million in just painting. He travels to 38 countries a year, surfing and playing beach volleyball, right? His focus or his stepping stone relationships are with interior designers. So he only has relationships with 30 or 40, I don't know how many, and not interior designers, real estate agents. He has relationships with 30 or 40 real estate agents who feed him $5 million worth of business every year. Okay. You're not going to see him on a job site painting because he's all over the country, in different countries, or he's managing his business. He is seen as one of the top painting experts, right? And people trust him. He never picks up a paintbrush, ever, because successful people do not pick up paintbrushes. If you want to be seen as the expert and a successful person, you cannot be seen next day holding a paintbrush. It doesn't work.
I think that was in one of your videos. It rings a bell.
Yeah.
What you just said now.
So you got to make a decision. And I think go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I have to leave. I'm going to pick up somebody at the office.
Okay. Well, think about what we just talked about, but I
Okay.
there's a lot of money to be made in the construction industry when you do it well, when you do it with a well-designed business. And I can't believe, I mean, you live in a nice home. I can't believe that other people don't appreciate their nice homes, which means there's a ton of money to be made in your industry, right? You just got to design the business properly. So think about that. There's three ways. There's 3 ways we can help you. We can help you on a purely advisory level where you do everything. And we can start with, let's say, $500 a month or something and build a long-term relationship. We also have what we call, advisory plus done for you, where we do my people do the marketing for you, and then there's the CEO level, where you pay $50,000 to $100,000 a year. We act and make decisions on your behalf, and we design the business and execute on a daily basis. You and I would be talking every day to get your business to, let's say, $5 million US. I don't know what that is in Rand, but we always talk in dollars.
Times 20.
So,
times
20. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So give that some thought, and let me know what you want the next step to be. But I think you're missing a huge opportunity. All right. Have a great day. We'll talk again soon.
We'd love to. We'd love to. All right. We'll come back to you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right. Bye-bye.